Narrated Nafi. Ibn Umar said, "The Prophet, peace be upon him, arrived at Mecca and sent for Uthman bin Talha. He opened the gate of the Kaaba and the Prophet, Bilal, Usama bin Zaid and Uthman bin Talha entered the Kaaba and then they closed its door from inside. They stayed there for an hour and then came out." Ibn Umar added, "I quickly went to Bilal and asked him whether the Prophet, peace be upon him, had prayed. Bilal replied, he prayed in it. I asked where? He replied, between the two pillars. Ibn Umar added, I forgot to ask how many rakat he, the Prophet, had prayed in the Kaaba. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, sent some horsemen to Najd, and they brought a man called Thumama bin Uthal from Bani Hanifa. They fastened him to one of the pillars of the mosque. Narrated Al-Sa'ibi bin Yazid. I was standing in the mosque and somebody threw a gravel at me. I looked and found that he was Umar bin al-Khattab. He said to me, Fetch those two men to me. When I did, he said to them, Who are you? Or where do you come from? They replied, We are from Taif. Umar said, Where? You from the city Medina. I would have punished you for raising your voices in the mosque of Allah's Messenger. Narrated Kabi bin Malik. During the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, I asked Ibn Abi Haddad in the mosque to pay the debts which he owed to me, and our voices grew so loud that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, heard them while he was in his house. So he came to us after raising the curtain of his room. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, O Ka'b bin Malik. I replied, Labbaik, O Allah's Messenger. He gestured with his hand to me to reduce the debt to 1/2. I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, have done it. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to Ibn Hadrad, Get up and pay it. Narrated Nafi. Ibn Umar said, While the Prophet, peace be upon him, was on the pulpit, a man asked him how to offer the night prayers. He replied, Pray 2 rakat at a time, and then 2, and then 2, and so on. And if you are afraid of the dawn, the approach of the time of the far prayer, pray 1 rak'ah, and that will be the wick for all the at which you have offered. Ibn Umar said, The last rakat of the night prayer should be odd, for the Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered it to be so. Narrated Ibn Umar. A man came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, while he was delivering the sermon, and asked him how to offer the night prayers. The Prophet, peace be upon him, replied, Pray 2 rakat at a time, and then 2, and then 2, and so on. And if you are afraid of dawn, the approach of the time of the far prayer, pray 1 rak'ah, and that will be the wicker for all the at which you have prayed. Narrated Ubaydullah bin Abdullah bin Umar. A man called the Prophet, peace be upon him, while he was in the mosque. Narrated Abu Waqid al-Laythi. While Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, was sitting in the mosque with some people, 3 men came. 2 of them came in front of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and the third one went away, and then one of them found a place in the circle and sat there while the second man sat behind the gathering, and the third one went away. When Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, finished his preaching, he said, Shall I tell you about these 3 persons? One of them betook himself to Allah, and so Allah accepted him and accommodated him. The second felt shy before Allah, so Allah did the same for him and sheltered him in His mercy, and did not punish him. While the third turned his face from Allah, and went away, so Allah turned his face from him likewise. Narrated Abad bin Tamim. That his uncle said, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, lying flat on his back in the mosque with one leg on the other. Narrated Said bin al-Musayyab that Umar and Uthman used to do the same. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, I had seen my parents following Islam since I attained the age of puberty. Not a day passed but the Prophet, peace be upon him, visited us, both in the mornings and evenings. My father Abu Bakr thought of building a mosque in the courtyard of his house, and he did so. He used to pray and recite the Quran in it. The pagan women and their children used to stand by him and look at him with surprise. Abu Bakr was a soft-hearted person and could not help weeping while reciting the Quran. The chiefs of the Quraysh pagans became afraid of that, i.e., that their children and women might be affected by the recitation of Quran.